Hey guys, it's me, Elizabeth. I am back with another video. Today I'm going to be doing a worst books I have read. This is based off of my StoryGraph beta. I'm going to be telling you all of the books that I have rated 2 stars or less. There might be a couple of 2.5 stars in here, but these are all of the ones that I've rated less than 3 stars, basically, and that I would not recommend people read. There are a few that I will, when I talk about them, I'll tell you that at the time of reading them, I really liked them, and then I either read them again and didn't like it, or something else made me just change my mind, and I changed my rating on it. But most of them, I rated this at the time of reading it. So, yeah, let's just get through this. There's quite a few that I have found. So the first one I found is The Kill Order by James Dashner. It is the Maze Runner number 4. I kind of felt like this book was pointless. I also didn't like it. So at the time when I read this, I had read the first 3 Maze Runner books. I liked the trilogy. It's not a trilogy anymore, but I had liked the first 3 books, and I thought they were good. I was really into them at the time. And then I read The Kill Order because I was like, yeah, I'm going to read The Kill Order. Didn't like it. From the very first moment that I read it, I was not really super interested in it. And yeah, I just not a fan. Not a fan at all. Sorry. I just wasn't a fan. But yeah, and now I'm just not a fan of James Dashner in general. I'm not a fan of the Maze Runner cycle. What do you call it? I don't know. Trilogy cycle. It's not a trilogy anymore because there's 4 books. But I'm not a fan of the Maze Runner books anymore. But at the time, I was really into the Maze Runner books, and I just didn't like Kill Order, and I still don't like Kill Order. Also, I forgot to mention that I did give the Kill Order 2 stars. I think I forgot to mention that, and yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. Next, we have probably the only classic on here, and probably one that a lot of people love, but I personally did not enjoy. Sorry for all you people who love this, but The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, I was not a fan. First off, I want to say that I've never had this on my book list. I was never like, oh my gosh, I want to read this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read this, or something like that. When I read this, me and my cousin read it together. We were trying this book club thing, which never really worked. We read 1 book or 2 books or something. And The Great Gatsby was the first one that we actually read the whole thing. And I wanted to read it because it was a classic. And I was like, yeah, I'll read this. This will be fun. But I read it and, well, gave it 2 stars. I'm not a huge fan. Sorry, it just wasn't for me. I do love a lot of classics, but this one just wasn't for me. I'm sorry. But my cousin did really like it. She loved it, and I was like, different people, different opinions. Plus, my cousin and me always have different opinions on just about everything, so not really that surprising. But yeah, I just wasn't a fan of it. I'm sorry. I kind of was bored most of the time when reading it, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. But it might be yours, so yeah. I would say I personally didn't like this, and I wouldn't go recommending it being like, this is a great book. But it's also not something that's like bad book that you shouldn't read. Like, if you want to give it a try, you can definitely give it a try, but I personally just didn't like it. So, next we have a trilogy. I'm just gonna group this all together. Basically, I put the Divergent trilogy by Veronica Roth on here because does anyone actually like those books? Because they're crazy. So here is my story with these books. I read Divergent. I thought it was really good at the time. This was years ago. I was like, yeah, this is a really good book. And then basically, really, like, right after I read the book, I went in theaters to see the movie. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I was like, this movie is horrible. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I was like, what? Then I read Insurgent, and I was like, this is not that great. But I kept going. I read Allegiant, and I was really disappointed. I was like, yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this. So at this point in life, I've given all 3 books a 2 stars. It's not good. I don't like it. I've only ever seen the first movie. I have not seen the other 2 movies. I've seen, like, a small, like, scene from, I think, the second movie or something like that. Because one time, randomly, I came home and my dad was watching it. I was like, why the heck is my dad watching this random movie? But yeah. Anyways, I don't like Divergent. Not a fan of Veronica Roth. Also, she supposedly wrote Divergent in like a month or something like that, or a year. I don't remember. She wrote it like really quickly, and I just personally don't like the series. Next, we have a duology, and that is the If I Stay duology. I read If I Stay years and years and years and years and years ago. When I first read that book, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun read. And then I read Where She Went, and I just wasn't a huge fan of it. And then I watched the movie for If I Stay, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this. So I decided to give them both 2 stars, and they've been 2 stars ever since. So there you go. Also, did I say that was by Gail Forman? This next book is on my 2 stars. Like, I found it on my StoryGraph. I didn't even remember it existed. It's probably a book that you have never heard of. I'm pretty sure I got it at the library one time, and that's how I read it. But it's called You Wish by Mandy Hubbard. Basically, this girl, I think this girl has like a birthday or something, and it's not a great birthday. I think she's turning like 16 or something, and so she has some kind of like thing with a wish, and she wants her wishes to actually come true, and then stuff starts coming. It's really weird. I'm not a fan of it, and again, I gave it a 2 stars. You won't see a lot of 1 stars on here. There are a few, but not very many. Most of these are 2-star books, but yeah, I just wasn't a huge fan of it, and it's just kind of dumb. I don't really know why I read it. I don't even know where I heard of it to make me want to read it, honestly, but there you go. It's on this list apparently. Next, we have The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. Yes, you heard me. The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. This book is terrible, okay? So I watched the movie years ago, and then a few years ago, decided I wanted to read the book. I didn't remember the movie, but I just wanted to read the book. And I know everyone's like in love with the movie or whatever. This is a terrible story. I'm sorry, but like so it's a love story, and the whole love thing is based off of a girl cheating on her fiance. Like, who the heck decided that was a good story? I did, for one, did not like it. Now, when I read the book, there was a scene at the end where I did tear up because it was sad. But overall, I didn't like the book. Gave it a 2 stars. It's only got 2 stars because I did tear up at the end. Otherwise, it would be a 1 star because I really do not like this. And one of the main reasons I dislike it so much, minus the whole thing being based off of her cheating off her fiance, obviously that's the whole reason I hate it, it's that everyone loves it so much and is obsessed with it, and I'm just like, wait, what? Why, though? Why? Next, we have City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. The Mortal Instruments, #1. Another 2 stars. Don't like the series. I've tried twice to read it, failed. The first time I read the first 4 books, and I was like, yeah, this is dumb. I'm not gonna keep reading this. Then, a couple years ago, I was like, I'm gonna try to read this series again because everyone is like talking about Cassandra Clare. All of these new Cassandra Clare books are coming out relating to the Mortal Instruments, and everyone's just like obsessed with the series. And I'm like, I want to try and read it again just to see, like, maybe my opinion has changed. Nope, don't like it. I tried to read the first one, failed. I didn't even get to the second one. I had it, and then I never read it because I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to read Cassandra Clare anymore. I give up. Not good. I don't like it. So, there you go. And keeping in vein with that, basically, I also have The City of Ashes and the other 2 books that I did read in that series are also in that vein of they're bad books and they're 2 stars as well. Next, we have probably one of the most disappointing ones on this list. Because, well, I don't know if it's super disappointing, let's be honest. I don't think there's a lot of people that like this. Most people I know of aren't a huge fan of this unless they watch the play and they're like, oh my gosh, this play is so good. But if you don't know what I'm talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling. The only J.K. Rowling book I have ever read and disliked so far in life. And it's a Harry Potter related book, so it's kind of surprising. It's like, wait, you dislike something that's Harry Potter? Yes, you have to read Cursed Child to understand, but Cursed Child is just not that great. Now, I still own the book. It's like one of the only books I own and don't like, but I do kind of want to reread it again, and just to remember what happened in it, and just to, like, I don't know, just because I just want to reread it again. I think it'd be kind of fun, even though I'm not a fan. There's a lot of things that I didn't like about it, but the one thing that I did like was revisiting some of the characters. I thought that was kind of fun. But it's a 2 stars. I don't know very many people who have read it and liked it. I know there's people who have seen the play for it and loved it, but there's not a lot of people who like The Cursed Child from what I've seen on the internet and stuff. So I don't think this is, I think this is kind of a popular opinion of disliking it. The next ones are probably going to be some unpopular opinions because everyone's obsessed with this author, but House of Hades by Rick Riordan and Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. So on here I have House of Hades is 2 stars and Mark of Athena is 1 star. I don't remember why they differ so much. Probably they would both be 1 stars, honestly. But honestly, let's just group Son of Neptune and the second one. The first one. Son of Neptune is the second one. The first one is The Blood of Olympus or something like that. No, that's the last one that I didn't read. The first one is The Lost Hero. Let's just group all of those 4 books together and say that I'm not a fan of the series. I did read the first 4. I tried to read them, and the first one, when I read it, I enjoyed it. The second one, when I read it, I enjoyed it. And then I got to the third one, and it just wasn't that great. And then I got to the 4th one, I was like, nope, I don't like this. So, yeah. Basically, I'd give the series that I read as a whole, I'd give it 2 stars. But the last 2 I would give a 1 star because not that great. Sorry, Rick Riordan fans, but I'm just not a big Rick Riordan fan anymore. I used to love Percy Jackson, the original series, and I still like it, but I don't love it, and it's definitely not the greatest series, and I definitely am not going to recommend it to thousands of people because maybe it's not the best thing to read. This next one is one of our 1 star books, and that is Raising Dragons by Brian Davis. You probably never heard of this book, but basically my cousins read these books and were like super into them and like, you need to read this, and I was like, okay, it's about dragons, cool. I think I read this. I don't even know if I read the second book. It's like a series, but I think I did read the second book. I don't remember, but I know I read the first one and I gave it a 1 star. Like, I did not like this series. No thanks, not for me. Sorry, but I'm not a fan. It was like really like weird. It was like this kid, there's these 2 kids. There was this boy, I think he's the one that had fire or something, and the girl had the dragon wings. It was weird. I wasn't a fan. I love dragons, but this book, nah, definitely not. The next one we have here is one of our more recent read, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Yeah. I gave this a 2.5 stars. I was actually, like, going into this, I don't know, I guess I was kind of in the middle. Like, I was kind of thinking because it's about college and teenagers or whatever, I was like, I'm probably not going to enjoy it that much, but I was also thinking because it's Leigh Bardugo, maybe I would actually enjoy it. I wasn't a fan. I just wasn't a fan. I'm sorry. Now I have the most disappointing one on the whole list and the last one on this list. A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabata here, which is Ember in the Ashes number 4. I gave this a 2.5 stars, but it is wholly disappointing because here's how it goes. I read the first book. I loved the first book so much. It was really good. I read the second book. It was okay. I liked it. I was enjoying the series, but it wasn't as good as the first one. Then I read the third one, or listened to the third one on audio, and I loved it. For some reason, I listened to the audiobook and I was like in love. I was like, this is an amazing series. It's really good. Then I got to the fourth one, and I don't know what the heck happened, but I think that I was just so hyped up and like so excited for it because I thought the other ones were so good that it just was such a letdown because I was so excited for it, and then I read it and it was just really disappointed. I was like, there were a few like high points in there that I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, but overall I was just really like disappointed. I was like, this is what you have for your final? I just wasn't a fan. I don't know what happened, but I just wasn't a huge fan of it. And it was the biggest letdown because I was like super excited for it and I ended up not liking it. So that's just great, right? So yeah, that is the last book on my least favorite books. Those are just the books that I have put into my StoryGraph. I'm sure I've read other books in the past that I wasn't a fan of that I never put on here because I didn't have this or whatever, but those are just the books that I can know of, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to support me, you can like the video and subscribe down below, and if you're into historical fashion, history, or sewing, you can check out my other channel, also linked below, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you have your own fun reading adventures. Bye.